On May 9, 2025, the political landscape was shaken by a stunning announcement. Stephen Miller, the controversial Deputy Chief of Staff, revealed a plan under serious consideration: the suspension of habeas corpus. This news sent shockwaves through the nation. Miller's blunt statement signaled a potential escalation of hardline policies. The notion of suspending this fundamental right ignited a firestorm of controversy. Critics decried the move as a dangerous assault on the rule of law. They argued it would strip individuals of their right to challenge detention. The potential consequences were dire, leading to indefinite detention without trial. The administration, however, argued that desperate times called for desperate measures. The stage was set for a legal and political battle that would shape the future of the country. The outcome would determine whether the United States would remain a nation governed by the rule of law or descend into authoritarianism. At the heart of the controversy lies the ancient legal principle of habeas corpus. Often referred to as the Great Writ, habeas corpus serves as a fundamental safeguard against unlawful detention. It empowers individuals to challenge the legality of their imprisonment before a court of law. The right to habeas corpus is enshrined in the U.S. Constitution, specifically in Article 1, Section 9, Clause 2. This clause prohibits the suspension of habeas corpus, except in cases of rebellion or invasion. The Founding Fathers included habeas corpus to prevent arbitrary government power. They recognized the danger of detaining individuals without due process. Habeas corpus ensures no one can be imprisoned without just cause. It is a cornerstone of American justice, preventing unlawful detention. The writ has roots in English common law and gained significance during the American Revolution. Colonists sought to protect themselves from arbitrary imprisonment by British authorities. The Founding Fathers enshrined habeas corpus in the Constitution as a bulwark against tyranny. They understood that the right to challenge one's detention is essential to preserving individual liberty. Today, habeas corpus continues to safeguard individual rights. It provides a legal avenue for those held unlawfully to have their day in court. Through habeas corpus petitions, detainees can challenge the legality of their detention. It ensures the government does not overstep its bounds, and individuals are not deprived of liberty without due process. Throughout American history, the power to suspend habeas corpus has been invoked sparingly, reflecting the gravity of such an action. The Constitution, while permitting suspension under very specific circumstances, does not explicitly grant this power to any single branch of government. This ambiguity has led to debate and legal challenges over the centuries, with Congress and the President vying for the authority to suspend the writ. One of the most notable instances of habeas corpus suspension occurred during the Civil War. In 1861, faced with a rebellion that threatened to tear the nation apart, President Abraham Lincoln took the unprecedented step of suspending habeas corpus in parts of the country. This controversial decision, made without congressional approval, allowed for the detention of individuals suspected of disloyalty to the Union without trial. Lincoln argued that the extraordinary circumstances of the Civil War, namely the need to suppress a rebellion and preserve the Union, justified this infringement on civil liberties. Lincoln's suspension of habeas corpus was met with immediate legal challenges, with critics arguing that it exceeded his constitutional authority. In a landmark case, Ex parte Merryman, Chief Justice Roger Taney ruled that only Congress had the power to suspend habeas corpus. Taney's ruling, however, was ignored by the Lincoln administration, which continued to detain individuals without trial. This episode highlighted the tension between national security concerns and the protection of civil liberties, a dilemma that continues to resonate in American society today. Despite the controversy surrounding Lincoln's actions, Congress eventually passed legislation authorizing the suspension of habeas corpus during the Civil War. This retroactive approval, however, did little to quell the debate over the separation of powers and the limits of executive authority. The Civil War suspension of habeas corpus serves as a stark reminder of the fragility of civil liberties during times of national crisis and the importance of a robust system of checks and balances to prevent executive overreach. As tensions rise, the question on everyone's mind is the nation under siege? The streets are filled with uncertainty, and the air is thick with apprehension. Citizens are looking for answers, but finding only more questions. The situation is fluid, and the future remains unclear. With the stakes higher than ever, the country now faces a potential constitutional crisis. Legal experts are divided, and political leaders are at odds. The very foundation of governance is being tested, and the outcome could reshape the nation's future. The path ahead is fraught with challenges, and the resolution is anything but certain.